Today we're going to meet John Byrne, CEO of Poets&Quants. Hello, John. Thanks so much for visiting virtually Bocconi University.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So let me get started from a question, given your special observatory of business schools through Poets&Quants. Given the complicated period we are living in these days, a long pandemic and now the unfortunate situation of the war in Ukraine, how business schools are dealing with this, particularly are dealing with their future?
Well, business schools are incredibly adaptive, in fact, more adaptive to market needs than probably any other department or school in a university. And that's always been true. Right now, the world seems incredibly uncertain and anxious with both the war and the lingering pandemic. But there have been some positive changes as a result of the pandemic. One is the delivery of education. It has accelerated long-distance learning at many business schools, and many professors who had no experience teaching virtually now know what it's like to teach someone who's not directly in front of them in a classroom. That's a positive thing, because in the future, we're going to see far more higher education delivered through technology and much less delivered face-to-face in physical classrooms. The other issue, of course, is the use of technology by business itself. Technology has transformed business in every possible way, and that's not going to stop. In fact, it's going to accelerate with the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's going to dramatically reshape the workforce and work itself in the next 10 years. And business schools are already trying to prepare their students to become managers in that world. There are a lot of ethical implications because there will be a good number of layoffs, and what responsibility business has versus government to retrain employees for new jobs. There's also the question of how do you deploy AI and how do you make businesses more efficient and more productive? And that's going to be a very key and important role that managers play. And increasingly, frankly, collaborating with machines instead of people. That is the future, and business schools can teach it.
Of course, you're absolutely right, and that's the reason why I must say that we just launched with the SDA Bocconi School of Management a portfolio of courses on demand for executives, and also why at Bocconi we have created an entire department of computing sciences exactly to support what you said, the fact that artificial intelligence is more and more important also for social sciences, and it is crucial to have the right competencies to do research and also to teach to students the integration between the two. But let me ask you another question on an important trend we are experimenting in these days, which is sustainability. More and more, the world is looking for solutions not simply in the digital transformation, but also for ecological transition, an important problem of climate change, and of course also for the social impact in general. What is your view on these crucial topics?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's one that business schools grapple with on a regular basis. Sustainability has become a very important topic at business schools, in part because this generation of college students demands it. Climate change is a major threatening issue in the world, and businesses have to address it because, really, while governments have a crucial role in sustainability, businesses need to follow. And it is businesses in many cases that one way, indirectly or directly, in fact, pollute the earth. So business schools basically have a responsibility to teach people about the implications of their decisions. So that has always been true. In many cases, the implications are on people, on profit, and on society and on the environment. And increasingly, there's a greater focus on what impact will a business have on the environment and what responsibility does business have to basically reduce its carbon footprint in the world. So just getting the language around that and understanding the implications of that in school helps bring that mindset to young people, so that when they go on to their careers in management, they'll be thinking through this lens of, what impact will my decision have on the environment? And is there something that I can do to make a positive imprint instead of a negative one? And that's crucial, because it's almost everything we do has some sort of implication today on climate change, which is one of the great challenges of our generation.
I think that we are doing a lot of things for many years. And by the way, research in this field started back in the 80s, particularly in management and business administration, although it's been for many years theoretical research and not empirical, because there were a few cases up until a few years ago that were going towards this direction. From your observatory, how do you see what we are doing? So you are happy with the situation, or we are far away from the optimal situation in your view?
I think it's still early days. I think that there are schools that are staking out the area of sustainability as a place where they want to attract more faculty, they want to do more research, and they want to put emphasis on this topic in every course, as well as develop a portfolio of electives on sustainability and climate change and how companies are dealing with it. So I think we're very early on. Yes, there are some schools and some professors who've done work in this area for quite some years. But in terms of that work being translated in the classroom, in MBA programs and in master in management programs, I think that's less so. But the demand is there. The interest is there. Young people are very keen to learn about this and to do something about it. And I think that that's really a marvelous place to be, because you have to push and pull demand on this topic that's going to result in real change very quickly.
So digital transformation, sustainability, social impact, in these years, there's a lot of room for entrepreneurship. John, how business schools are dealing with entrepreneurship? Historically, their audience was manager and executives of small, medium, and big multinationals. How they're dealing with startups?
I think very well. Schools have poured in a lot of resources into entrepreneurship. They've hired venture capitalists. They've hired serial entrepreneurs to teach these courses, which tend to be more interdisciplinary in nature. And they've put together incubation labs. They've provided seed capital in many cases for young businesses. They've provided mentors to nurture young entrepreneurs and to help them think through not only their plan, but then their path toward implementation. And increasingly, you're seeing more young people start companies that actually have an impact on sustainability, on the environment, using AI techniques and business analytics to make advances of one kind or another in one industry after another. I was recently a judge, for example, in a major entrepreneurship contest in America. All three finalists have approaches to challenges in the world with triple bottom line solutions, meaning that their solutions take into account their impact on the environment, on society, on people, and more importantly, have a social mission of one kind or another to do good, in addition to making money. So I think this is a very valuable change, and I think business schools have done, in general, a very good job at nurturing entrepreneurship among students who are interested in pursuing that path.
I fully agree with you, and that's the reason why at Bocconi University, in addition to running a series of electives and some programs on entrepreneurship, we have just launched also Bocconi for Innovation, which is our accelerator that supports with resources and with services students that want to launch start up. Let me ask you a final question, John, about the fact that more and more we are seeing around the world the topics of business administration taught at the undergrad level and not simply the postgrad level like in most of the business schools in the past. So what is your view on this important topic, teaching business at the undergrad?
Yeah, in the United States, the business major is the number one major. So more people in the United States study business at the undergraduate level than any other subject. And I know that this is less popular in Europe, where there's a strong belief that a good, strong liberal education should be delivered at the undergraduate level, and then one should specialize afterward with a graduate degree. But increasingly, people want to know early on that they want to pursue business. And by going to an undergraduate business education, they can jumpstart that process much more quicker. Another thing that's happened, frankly, is, over the last quarter of a century, many companies have downstreamed. They have taken away many of those middle management jobs that used to be used to train people. And when companies hire young people today, they don't expect that they will hire them and spend 6 months training them, and it will take 6 months to a year for them to start to contribute. Companies want people to contribute from day one. And the one way that young people can do that is to get an undergraduate education in business, where they learn the language of business, they learn the basics of accounting, finance, marketing, and strategy. And so when they join a company, they can make that contribution from day one. They don't have to spend 6 months in rotational jobs learning what the company does and how they can make a difference. So that's a very big, important part of why, at least in the US, undergraduate education in business has become so popular, because companies are refusing to hire liberal arts majors. So if you majored in philosophy or geography or English or political science, literature, it's going to be harder for you to get a job, which is why so many young people in America basically study business. And if they don't study business, what they do is immediately after doing an undergraduate education in the liberal arts or the humanities, they go and get a 1-year Master of Management program to allow themselves to be able to have a quick start when they do a job. So I see this as a trend that will continue around the world. More resources will be devoted to undergraduate education because businesses will require it, expect it, and demand that their new hires contribute from day one.
This makes absolute sense, and we are seeing this trend structurally also in Europe, absolutely. And Master of Management, as you say, are becoming really a global standard, and so a product which is very, very important. So John, thank you so much. I really hope to one day also have you here at Bocconi University so that you can meet our faculty and students. And again, I look forward to talking to you.
And I am half Italian, and I hope to visit you soon. I was in Puglia, where my grandfather was born, only in January, and I'm intending to come back in the fall, and I will certainly pay you a visit, and will love to meet your students.
Terrific. Ciao then.
Ciao.